Good day, YouTubers, and today it's just a shortish video. I'm going to take you through some more photographs, but firstly, little bit of news for the lockdown. Yesterday, what was yesterday? It was the 10th of May. Yesterday evening, the Prime Minister made his long anticipated announcement about lockdown, and finally some indication of how we're going to slowly get out of this whole thing. And a lot of people say it was very confusing. It was sort of, you go to work, don't go to work, but sort of reading between the lines, and when you look into it, it was fairly straightforward. Mainly things are pretty much as they were. However, you can now, if you can't work from home, which doesn't apply to me because, well, does apply to me but doesn't. See, I sound like Boris there. It does, but it doesn't. Because I can work from home, but I can't travel. So, but if you can't work from home, you can now, and you're urged to, go to work. You can't use public transport. You can either drive, walk, or ride a push bike. And the other thing is that you can, from Wednesday, travel to a place, drive, ride a bike, whatever, to a place in order to exercise. Now, there's no sort of distance or time constraints as was set out before, so you could, in theory, travel from, say, Garstang to Brighton and then get out and have a walk. I mean, from my point of view, I'm not going to take the Michael by going on some huge long road trip or something, but you are allowed out to drive. Now, that doesn't mean I could start filming travels by motorbike, because, for example, the Lake District and Scotland are still closed. But, and with the canals, had an email this morning from Canal and River Trust, you can now, or from Wednesday, visit your boat, you can fish, and you can kayak, and you can do that standing up thing on a surfboard with a paddle thing, stand up surfboarding, whatever they call it. But you still can't move your boats. You can't travel along the canals. But the way it's all going, provided everybody when they're out continues to social distance, which for me is easy. I mean, I could quite easily ride my bike all around the country and not get near one single soul, or I could cruise my boat and not get near anybody at all. I mean, it's second nature to me. I've done it for the past 3 years on the canals. So yeah, you can visit your boat from Wednesday. You can, who's that keeps texting me? Yeah, you can visit your boat. Thank you very much. You've completely ruined my train of thought. Not to worry. Yeah, you can visit your boat again, and you can fish and you can kayak. So yeah, there you go. Right, I'm going to show you some photographs. Some more. These ones, well, most of them I took a few years ago at, oh, where was it? It was near Windermere. It's the place next doors to Windermere. Is it Buttermere? Or something like that. Something in Furness, but it's next doors to Windermere. And I'm going to show the pictures once I get this thing going. Let's have a look. Where are we? Ah, there we go. Right. These, most of these are from an ebook I did a few years ago called The British, A Pictorial Guide for Other Nations. And this is the cover. I was with this series of photos, I was attempting to capture an essence of sort of stereotypical Britishness, where we all sit around drinking tea and eating fish and chips and walking our dogs and all this kind of business. And this picture sort of sums that up for me. You have the sort of country type of person there drinking tea at a bench. So yeah, sort of British there. But yeah, so that was that one. And I divided pictures up into groups, and these ones, it was of the British and benches, something like that. But this one I called the mother-in-law. Are you allowed to say mother-in-law these days? I'm not quite sure, but I won't be doing any mother-in-law jokes. I'm not quite sure why, but this gentleman came out quite sharp and in focus, and the kid at the back and the railings, but I'm assuming wife and mother-in-law, they're sort of blurred, but I'm thinking that's possibly the speed they're moving and the speed they're talking has blurred the image, but it's quite self-explanatory. They're having a good old natter about scones or whatever, and it's just too much for him. Yeah, so that's called the mother-in-law. And then quickly we'll get on to this one. Was about the British and their obsession with dogs, and I started with a short paragraph that often owners look like their dogs, or sometimes the other way around. And this was the first picture. There's a couple of bull terriers. I don't think they're pit bulls. They're Staffordshire bull terrier, something like that. Yeah. So it's a case of owners looking like their dogs. Quite terrible, really. This was a favourite of mine. I simply called this the chip, and there is a story here. You have this family. You have the mother, the father and husband of the mother, I'm assuming, and the father of the father, the granddad, and their two children. You have this sort of stereotypical Dennis the Menace kind of child there, with his Dennis the Menace shirt, and the daughter, and this stranger who's completely, by the look of it, nothing to do with the family. So why do I call this the chip? Well, you have here a chip, and sort of looking like it's possibly the last chip in the tray, and she's holding the chip with this look of expectation, this the chip. Now the daughter is looking longingly at the chip. I want the chip, but she can't have the chip. The little boy is already, he said, I want the chip, I want the chip, but he's already been told, no, you are not having the chip. So he has this despondent, it looks like he's about to cry, I can't have the chip. And then this stranger appears, fork at the ready, but the granddad, the grandfather, he said, no, you're not having the chip. And this look on her face of, not good. And throughout all of this, the father stands there with this look on his face, as if to just say, my family. Now, I do like that photo. The chip. Everything centered around a chip. Right, and finally, a photograph which has nothing to do with the ebook, but it's a picture that I loved. I had this medium format camera. It was a twin lens reflex camera, and two lenses on the front. The top lens was one that you viewed through the ground glass viewfinder. You look downwards like that, and the bottom lens took the photo, exposed the image onto the film behind, the 120 medium format film. And yeah, I was hanging around at home with my camera one day, and I took this photo. And there you are. This is my old Arab horse, Lancer, sadly no longer with us, but an absolutely gorgeous person he was. He thought he was a dog. You used to let him out his stable in the morning, and he'd just wander around the place, and he'd stand looking about and sniffing flowers, and yeah, he was a dog. And then we have our dog. This is Charlie, sadly no longer with us. Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Yeah, gorgeous lad. He likes to sit around as well and look at things. And then, I've been asked a lot over the years, over the past 3 years or so, is my ex, I don't like calling her my ex-wife, because that's done and dusted, so I'll just say my wife. There we go. And this is her here. Her name's Yvonne, Yvonne, and yeah, it was this lovely moment where the three of them are just sharing this moment of complete and utter peace. The weather was gorgeous, and yep, Lancer just totally, he just came along and just stood there, and he was sniffing Charlie. Yeah. So there you have it. Yeah, I really do like that photo. Well, like I said, just a short video, and I'm hoping in the next week, maybe two, provided people behave themselves and social distance, it's not difficult to go out and not come into contact with people. So hopefully in the next week, maybe two, Canal and River Trust has extended the not having to move your boat 14-day thing. They've extended it to the 23rd of May. So, and the 28th of May is when the Prime Minister, the government reevaluates what's happened over the next 3 weeks. But I'm hoping next week, maybe two, maybe three, we can start moving on the canals. And when that happens, I can move from here at Garstang all the way back down to Preston at the end of the Millennium Ribble Link, and I can start filming along the Lancaster Canal. The works further up the canal past Lancaster, repairing the Loon Aqueduct, they're set to finish on the 22nd of May, and the coronavirus, so we're told, hasn't affected the schedule of works. So hopefully by the time we get moving, and by the time I get to the Loon Aqueduct, it'll be open, and I'll be able to film along the whole of the Lancaster Canal, and then I'll be able to assemble season 7 of Travels by Narrowboat. So until then, fingers crossed, please just keep away from people, because if it all goes down, and starts to flare up again, it'll just be lockdown. So we don't want another lockdown, do we? So yep, fingers crossed. Don't have nightmares, and I'll see you next time. Cheers for now. Oh, look at that lovely weather out there. Oh.